week's episode of The Voice Party is brought to you by Big Boy Wraps. Get your car wrapped by some of the most experienced and skilled in the Bay. Big Boy Wraps, where the big boys play.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the millions listening at home, welcome to another astounding episode of The Voice Party, featuring yours truly, Joaquin Xavier, comedian extraordinaire.
I'm still mad at you for throwing grease in my face. I'm burnt from my face. We'll talk about it later.
Wow. Amazing engineer Phil Spooner. We have
the suspenders,
the most amazing cake maker this side of the Bay Area, Aaron, and then our guest. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Amy, and
cousin Amy.
Yeah, right. And I'm here to talk about my new podcast about sex positivity and all that fun stuff.
Describe sex positivity.
Well, basically what we're trying to do is make people feel more comfortable talking about sex and everything that comes along with sex and relationships and all that bullshit. A safe space for people,
right.
Yeah. Essentially. That's what we're trying to do.
That is a topic that's still not like,
Yeah. Just an open, honest conversation about everything involving sex, relationships, good, bad, ugly.
Everything
bound, gagged.
What? I love that. Relationships, whipping, choking,
a little bit of hog tie.
The fun stuff.
Cake and sodomy, It's all in the Marilyn Manson album somewhere.
It's all there, yeah. It's okay. That's all lumped in together.
Yes.
The basic birds and the bees.
Understanding, handcuffs.
Understanding
the
handcuffs.
fuzzy ones.
Yeah.
Which, okay, because to some of us, like, I would say us, but people, that still seems like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not sex. That's not get over here, sweetie. That's...
Not everybody...
There's different levels of intimacy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Describe all of them, please.
and kinks.
How
much time do you have? How much tape you got?
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit of what because you guys, you mentioned that. And have you recorded anything or when is it coming out?
We were supposed to start this month. We had some setbacks, so we're going to start next month. And what we're doing right now is just kind of building a list of who we want to be interviewing on there. We definitely are going to do one that it's like people can call in and ask stuff, because I get that a lot.
Yeah.
So I want people to feel comfortable. It should be a place of no shame.
No shame.
Although that's a kink as well.
Yeah.
Yes, being shamed is a kink.
Shame kink is huge.
It is true. It's true.
Stand-up comedy is a form of shame. It could be a form of shame.
Yeah. I imagine it was a safe place you could take your pants off and be shamed while you're doing comedy.
I think that would make it easier.
Possibly.
Than actually just bombing.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
Well, it can't get any worse than that. I mean, you know what I mean?
How comfortable are you guys talking about sex, in general? Like on a regular, with family?
Not an issue at all. My family is a little bit different.
Be fucking. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. They have no qualms about, if you're going to ask, they're going to tell you. And that's everybody.
Okay.
Not everybody. Most bands, if we're sitting around a Christmas dinner, it's not an issue to bring something up. Somebody's going to laugh about it and oh, your parents used to do this. And, your aunt and uncle would go do that. It's, that's why I believe my family is pretty well put together. Me and my brothers, I have 4 brothers, and everybody we grew up with had kids at 12, 13 years old. None of us did, because we knew what sex was, what it wasn't, protection, everything about it. There was no mystery to, oh my God, what's under a girl's pants that's different than mine. It was we knew exactly what it was, and
it's missing.
We knew what not to do, what not, we weren't embarrassed.
Yeah.
My mom didn't want us being the ones giggling because the teacher said penis or somebody said breast or whatever. You know what I mean? It's
it's standing up on its own, Mom.
No, my mom just didn't want us.
I think it's broken.
It died. It's hard.
It's bleeding something strange. It's not I don't know what this is.
This pee is different. I'm sorry. childhood memory. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's similar background for you too.
God, no.
No.
Well, we are. Well, I think about my dad is definitely not so comfortable with those conversations, but the rest of us are. I'm the youngest of 4. The co-host of the podcast is actually my sister.
Well, I met yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. So trying to get her out of her shell a little bit, get comfortable talking to people about it. And then I have a transgender sister who's very open. So like with the siblings and my mom, we are very open. My mom lives vicariously through me, I think, sometimes.
So like that's why I ask family, because family is usually the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you get the basis of how you communicate and your knowledge from your family.
Yeah.
And
that's a problem. Because
Definitely.
For me and my family, that's never
spoken about. Yeah.
Old school parents with like,
I feel like any old school family, that's generally how it is, especially, in Black, Latino, Asian cultures. It's just unspoken thing. Like religion hit these cultures so hard, it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Like parents don't talk about the fact that they gave birth to you.
Yeah.
And that's
the stork story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything was an immaculate conception. Yeah. But then that's why like my mom didn't want us fooled. She didn't want us in this clouded bullshit, arena of, there's when two people love each other,
you're committing a sin.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
sins are fun, Mom. Yeah. You need to tell me.
Well, I mean, she knew my dad. My mom was smart enough to tell us up front, hey, this is what it is, how it works. And luckily for my dad, he was like, he didn't really have to ever give us the birds and bees talk, because my mom handled it all. My dad just be like, yep, she's right. Like that's.
What did she say? Yeah, that's you're good.
How old were you when you got the birds and bees talk?
I'll tell you this: by about 5-6 years old in my family, we've already been through and are well versed in the "Where Did I Come From" book, "What's Happening in My Body," which is a great book for all children. It's a cartoon book. It explains puberty and pubic hair and the changes females and males go through. But by 5, 6, 7 years old, at this point, we know it all. We could teach a course at 5, 6 years old. We can explain to other kids, hey, stop calling it, a fucking winky. That's your penis, And then we would, my mom and still has on a VHS from a PBS recorded off the TV abortion documentary.
Oh, shit.
So at 5, 6, 7, by at least 7 years old, we've all seen it and know. My mom was very upfront. This is what happens when you stick your little dick where it doesn't belong. This is what happens when you're not man enough to put a condom on. This is what happens if the woman decides to do this, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
This is what she's possibly going to deal with, whether she can deal with it or not. This is the repercussions of what you two did because you're not smart enough to stop and get a condom or step away or whatever. They both knew, like everybody else, like your body's going to war at a certain age. Your body's it's going to happen. Whether you're a boy or a girl, and you got to protect your children. You got to give them the weapons for war. If they're unknowledgeable of protection, that's where your kid ends up knocking somebody up or pregnant at
Agreed.
14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Growing up, where I grew up,
same thing. Yeah, those kids, I assure you, same thing. That conversation wasn't had, and they're on their own.
For me, I was in 6th grade, and there was a kid named Jesse. Shout out to you, Jesse. Asshole. And there was Dale.
And hell, Jesse, for committing all those sins.
And Dale was, Dale was a young lady. Jesse was a guy. And
Dale was a young lady.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the South. I knew a girl named Dusty. It happened. But
Dusty Bottom.
So Jesse had called Dale a name, and she started during recess, and she just started crying. So I came home confused. I said, we're 6th graders. I wouldn't expect Dale to. I felt bad for her, but I thought it was really silly that she was crying so hard. It was just the name that he used was so. It was so stupid. And my grandmother was like, "Well, what did Jesse say?" He called her a horse, I think. Why is she crying so hard after being called a horse? She's not a baby. She's not
majestic
5.
animals.
It's the way she galloped.
And no one had ever called her a horse. It's not like a thing where they've been calling her a horse for 5 years, as far as I knew. And then my grandmother looked at my grandfather, and my grandfather pulled out the medical dictionary and my grandmother pulled out the Bible, and they defined what whore meant based on biblical scripture. And then they used the medical dictionary to explain to me the entire process of having sex. But
based off a whore?
Based off the word whore. Because I had never encountered the word before. Keep in mind, this is like down south, the Bible Belt, like where they definitely don't talk about sex with their kids.
They're like, well, I don't want to be around a whore now.
So the way that my grandmother explained it was, that's not a very nice thing to call women, but this is where the word is originally, it's been used in other sources as a negative. Okay. And we were a Christian household. And also this is how sex worked, because that's what that's referencing. But then rather than teach me about protection, because I don't remember them teaching me about condoms, they just said, this is how sex works. This is how the penis enters the vagina and all that. And then they went, but you wait until you find someone really special that you're gonna marry, you know, because then you'll have babies after you have sex. And I was like, well, that makes perfect sense. And I see all these children born out of wedlock, and I'm like,
and then the next one, find all the special ones.
Find all the special ones.
So that's how I got it. You know, it was like a mix of old school religious morality, but with medical common sense.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't learn about condoms, so I hit middle school. So I moved out of Arkansas and went into Cali and was like, oh, okay.
You guys use this shit?
There's a cheat code. I don't have to wait till marriage at all.
That or anal.
Protection spell. Well, again, so my family, very open. So my tia's a doctor. My mom, only after I graduated high school, she went back and got in the medical field, phlebotomist, lab tech. Yeah. But prior to all this, when she was teaching all of us, her and my tia would, any big family event, they'd kind of look around and be like, oh, he's 8, he's 6, she's 10. We haven't talked to your kids, or your cousins, whatever, blah, blah, like, get them in the room.
It's time to watch the abortion video.
Yeah, so the family would kind of like shuffle all these kids into the room.
Oh my God, what's he doing with a?
No, so it's good. It was comfortable because it's your family. And it's funny as fuck for the rest of us, because now, like, I'm 15, 16 with my other cousins. We're all kind of watching from another room, like, look. And then, my tia would take out a banana and condom, and be like, this is how condom goes on. And which it can seem a little much to a lot of people from the outside looking in.
From a young kid.
But again, there's kids knocking kids up at 12, 11, 13
That's
years
when you
old.
start getting curious about shit and all that.
If you don't know, if that girl doesn't know, because my mom always, tell us, you guys can be idiots. You know what I mean? Like, odds are you do something stupid. Yeah. And if you don't know how to put a condom on correctly, it's going to go wrong. Yeah. You're not helping. Yeah. And, and we didn't have any sisters, but my daughters heard the same thing from my mom, about like how to put a condom on, because if that boy you're with doesn't know, you better fucking know.
You use it, then you save it for next time. we have to save the world.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
And don't forget Drake's trick of putting hot sauce in it after you're done.
Oh my God.
keeps unwanted pregnancies away.
So on that, like, you guys are both parents.
Yeah.
Is that like going back to what you guys have different backgrounds, but like with your kids going forward, you actually, have already had the talk and all that?
Oh yeah. I'm very open with my children. My daughter just hit puberty and we had the whole chat. And I'm like, guess what? You started your period. You can get pregnant right now. And she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's a scary realization, but I feel like if my parents would have had more candid conversations like that, I would have been better prepared. Mm-hmm. But shit, I got knocked up when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
I got caught having sex the second time I had sex by my parents, and that's when they had the sex talk with me.
Oh.
And so, it's just, if you're more...
You had already discovered it.
Yeah, I was like, I've been having this sex talk with everybody else, but, if...
Which is not a good thing. Like, learning from your peers about sex is not business.
You gotta fuck them, and then you fucking you find another one, and then
as long as you come and
you gotta spit on her, bro.
Turn around a couple times, it totally avoids a pregnancy.
I think one of the most important things aside from
hold on, that's how I got my sexual knowledge is like friends. When I was young through friends. Yeah. Yeah. Like, hey, this is stupid.
You can always count on your
stupid.
14-year-old friend to know best.
Exactly. This is stupid. Like, hey, if like she gave you head, does that cause any kind of like pregnancy?
Yeah.
Can it get pregnant?
But
because it goes inside of her. I mean,
those are conversations that, as a young child, you need to know.
For sure.
You know, it's a question.
And now I still have, like, to this day, like, when family gatherings, sex never comes up. Like, they call me a hoe or whatever, but we'll never talk about sex.
Sex always comes up around my family. Like, it's just gonna happen. Like,
In jokes.
Like, how
for
casual is
us.
it? Is it to the point to where your uncle's like, hey, my wife hasn't given me brain in 6 months.
No.
Doris!
My family is a very
Yeah.
classy family.
Okay.
But they're just having me like. They're also funny as fuck.
Right,
so
right.
they'll be talking about.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
So like I've got 4 brothers, and so obviously my parents were fucking, you know, and so like shit, like I forget the last. I think you were there as a Christmas or something. They're like. Oh, because my dad is kind of a hippie, and there's this book in the 70s called The Family Bed. Long story short, it's about the whole family kind of sleeping in the same room together. Like, so
Like,
so we all slept like on the floor in sleeping bags. We all had rooms, but like we'd bring our stuff in. We'd all sleep in the same room with our parents. You know,
Kids like to camp out in their parents' rooms.
it was great.
It's fun.
It felt comfortable. It's safe. You know, like you're not scared of the boogeyman because you're laying on the floor. Your dad's right here on the bed. You know, so we
family time.
Yeah. So I mean, it was great, but yeah. So you know that came up and. Me or one of my brothers like, dude, like, where did you guys find time to have sex? And my mom was like, well, you guys weren't using your rooms. And we're like, what?
I threw it at her.
They were having sex in your room.
Well, because think about like,
That's
you know,
genius.
While you were asleep, I
yeah,
guess.
well, they would get up and go to one of our. I mean, she's like, we change your sheets and everything, but like, you know, like,
At least they had the decency.
yeah,
to
but
do
you know,
that.
they're like, what did you think? Like, again, this isn't an immaculate conception. We didn't, you know, high five and love and you know, make another baby. Like, we got up, went to the other room.
Well,
because,
thank God they didn't screw in front. My grandfather had a story.
I was a little like when you said we slept in the same room. I'm like, here it comes.
No, well, you know,
And then we
show
were
me
fucking-
on the doll.
You know what? Like my grandfather, one of his coworkers over at the lab, Berkeley lab, he said that he had a conversation with the coworker, and that apparently his coworker explained that he and his wife, when their son came of a certain age, when they wanted to explain the birds and the bees to him, they were like, they invited him in to watch them have sex.
What the fuck?
That's child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's disturbing.
But that's the thing, and my grandfather was disturbed by this too, and like that's incredibly horrific.
That's awful.
High five people.
Damn.
That's fucked up.
That's
Ugh.
It is
fucking
fucked up.
awful.
Yeah. See, teaching them about it. All right. Yeah.
But having them watch is like
But watch is like, yeah. I keep performing in front of an audience.
I mean,
I'm saying
it can be done. but-
that audience.
Oh yeah, no, that's
That's not an audience.
that's
No.
disturbing.
Those are witnesses.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, those are.
witnesses.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
No,
About like,
no,
yeah, hey, what's those weird noises? I just go to sleep. Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
No, yeah, that's because it's like for my family.
That's why I told that story, because I thought that's
No, for my family, that like sex,
Go
like
to sleep.
it doesn't get like brought up, you know, like
Ever? Not at all?
not really. It gets weird when other like family members, like, you know, it just, you know, with everyone, like, you know, we and then like we all do our things.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know.
Sure, it happens
But
somewhere.
it's, I've been to other dinners like of other, you know, families, and like, you know, I have a friend. He'll be telling a story. So I was trying to work on my car. Then I stopped, took a break, went over to her house, and I rearranged her guts. And then I came back to like,
Nonchalant.
yeah, and like everybody just
Suck up
eating,
her
like,
face and
then the car. Go back to the car, and I'm just like,
Still can't get the carburetor to work.
yeah, and then over here, you know, we're our parents had 6 kids, but we never acknowledged.
Yeah, that anything happened.
They just popped out of nowhere, you know, like.
raised your guts, and then came back to work on the car.
Didn't wash my hands.
They didn't wash my hands. I had grease all over her. Meanwhile, we're over here, you know, not acknowledging.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, again, I think, like as a whole, overall, my family
Yeah.
kind of chose to be very open about these things because that side of family was from Nicaragua, and they all came here after the revolution, and everybody, except for me and a couple of my brothers, they're all engineers. They're all very well off. They do very well. Like my family runs Silicon Valley.
Revolution people be fucking, bro.
Yeah, my family runs Silicon Valley. My tia has rang the bell at the stock exchange numerous times. You know what I mean? They do very well. So in the end, everything starts with sex. Believe it or not, that's just the way the world works. For animals, it starts with sex, and you end with sex. Like you're end justifies the means. And if you aren't teaching people about sex, you're going to end up in the wrong place.
Yeah.
If you're having kids too young and you're fucking up, where are your dreams going to go? Like your goals go out the window. Like I tell my kids, broken hearts are inevitable. Broken dreams, it's over.
Yeah.
Like you can have fun.
Damn, that's what we're going to name this episode.
Broken dreams.
Broken hearts. What was it again?
Broken hearts are inevitable. Broken dreams, it's just over.
That's too long.
Yeah. Broken hearts are inevitable.
That's good. That's true.
Well, because I get same with my kids. Like, sex is great. It's a lot of fun. Enjoy it safely.
No more kids.
For me, fuck no.
That's what every parent says.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
take notes, gentlemen without kids. Yeah. No. And ladies. Yeah. Every parent will be like, "Yep, nope. No more."
Yeah.
No, but I tell my kids, like, sex is fun. It's great. When it's the time, you're gonna know. Your body's gonna tell you. Do it safely. Make sure it's your call. But if you're not doing it safely, your dreams will go out the window. Like you end up with a kid too young. There goes college. There goes your career. Like there's no coming back from that. Or there is, but I mean, it's a hard fucking road.
Bernie Mac. I remember Bernie Mac. Sex so good if they sold it in a can, I steal it from the grocery store. But that's true. I've seen that a lot. And like one of the things that, like I said, growing up, I saw a lot of pregnant teens and
Yeah, I feel like my family just didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So they made sure we all got this, male or female. There was no, again, we're as Nicaragüense family, technically Latino machismo family, but it's not. It was very open. Hey, this is the same conversation. This is how sex works. This is how you protect yourself. Make the right decision so that you can be what you need to be, and you don't need to be dependent on a man or a female, and you can still enjoy your sex life,
And people don't realize, like, when you make your kids feel like sex is a shameful thing, you're setting them up for failure. Because then when shit does happen, like maybe a girl does get drunk and some guy fucking forces it on her, she's less likely to talk about it because she feels like there's so much shame around the subject. Like, you have to tell your kids to be open so that they can be aware of those dangerous situations and enjoy sex for what it is. You know what I mean?
And just protection. I mean, when that was my mom's big thing. Just that's why I learned so young. Is my mom didn't want us being tricked, because people are fucking crazy. People are mean, and for instance, I had my receptionist. When I moved back here, she called me. And we were talking about her, her kids and everything. She's like, "Yeah, it's getting weird. My daughter's getting older, and they're in the bathtub the other day, and they're talking to, asking me about their body parts, and I tell them this and this, and I'm like, I stop her. I'm like, whoa, like what are you doing? She had like pet names for nipples and. I'm like, what are you doing?
What were the pet names?
Just, like some little cute shit, you tell a kid, like
ribbons,
buttons or whatever.
Buttons, yeah.
And I'm like, look, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, these girls are old enough. I mean, anybody's old enough for some predator to attach themselves.
Yeah.
But they're old enough to where they're going to school, they're going to preschool, they're going to daycares. Like, they need to know what their body is so that they can know this teacher touch my breast. This teacher tried to touch my vagina. That don't touch me. Like, they need to know these things. If not, you don't need your daughter being fooled by the teacher. Oh, play with my fuzzy worm. Like, oh, that sounds cute. Like, no, that's her penis.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm telling my mom.
Like when I was a kid, I don't remember being little and using the word penis, but I do remember being told, like, this is your private area. If an adult comes and tries to touch your private area, you need to tell me immediately.
Yeah.
Unless it's a doctor who's examining you or whatever, you're injured and I'm bathing you, you need to tell someone.
Yeah, no, that's my mom is very clear on that, and also even with the doctor, because like I watch a lot of crazy documentaries and podcasts, and nobody's doctors do weird shit as well, and my mom, that was my mom's thing as well. It was like, hey, unless it's a doctor, and even then, I will be there.
Yeah.
You know, like, and if it gets weird, if I happen to not be in the room while a doctor's there and it doesn't feel right, let me know. Like, just because they're in a suit or I have a badge, it doesn't mean shit.
Another thing too, on the totally opposite side, where you don't teach your kids about it, and you see it in adults how repressed they are with that.
Yeah.
Those are the special. Well, that's why
It can be bad. It can be really like both men and women.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like
Definitely.
super, and I've experienced some of that shit firsthand. And
well, shame is a heavy
Yeah.
burden
Yeah.
for people to carry.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, especially it's religion. You know, like you're indoctrinated into your society. Whether you're here in another country, you've got your set of cultural laurels, and that shame is a heavy weight to carry. You know, which is why like she's starting this podcast, because she gets a lot of questions from people where like she'll tell me like, you know, they're asking about this, and it's like they're adults.
Yeah.
You know, like they haven't figured this out, but she's been a safe space for a lot of people that are finally in their 20s, 30s, like, hey, you know, kind of not comfortable with this, or I kind of want to try this. I don't know what to tell my dude or whatever. And it's like weird that you're 32 and this is coming up, but
Well, there's
better late than never. You know?
There's a freedom in being sexually free and not holding yourself back, and not enough people experience that. And that's something that I try to change. It's another reason why I think sex work is so important, is because a lot of times sex workers end up being a safe space where somebody can go explore a kink that maybe their wife isn't comfortable with, you know? And if they have that outlet, they're less likely to do fucked up shit. You know,
I want you to stick a cucumber up.
trust me.
I want you to take a shit on my chest.
I have heard it
There's
all.
somebody out there that will appease that need. You know what I mean? Like somebody will do it, but again, like it's your body's going to war,
Right.
Yeah.
and if it's uncomfortable for everybody,
It's either you get comfortable with these things or you're gonna continue killing people.
no, it's true.
like
It's
you think
very
about
true.
a lot of those serial killers.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
What if they found what if Ted Bundy found a safe way to do kinky shit with women, where he wasn't, you know?
If you
killing
look
them.
at the majority of serial killers, there's always some sort of
This is the stuff I want
Sexual
to talk
repression.
about.
sexual abuse
Yeah.
or sexual repression. They
Yep.
come from extremely religious families where they couldn't talk about it, even though they knew dad was coming home drunk and smelling like other men's cocks.
Yeah.
But you talk about, you know, sex in this household, the kid gets his ass beat until he starts murdering chicks.
You're not
because,
supposed to be gay.
Like,
You're not
yeah.
supposed to be, you know.
Jeffrey Dahmer targeted men, and how much of that was just him wanting to express his homosexuality?
He also was a culinary expert.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Well, he actually, though, he's the only one that still said, I don't believe, he didn't believe he was gay till the end. He's like, I just
didn't want to be
had
alone.
These feelings, I had these feelings, but it's because his family was very religious. So even till the end, it was kind of like, I did these things because I didn't know how to let these feelings out. I didn't know, you know, I have these crazy interests that turned into these interests, because he couldn't just be like, I'm gay, I'd like to kiss this jogger, and turn into, I'm gonna knock that man out with a fucking hammer and rape him, you know, like.
And then kill him because you can't have witnesses after that.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna come back.
And that's
show signs of that. If you, hey,
so much for a second date, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's the sad,
And that's really
the
sad.
sad part, though. Like that upbringing, that shallowness and shame he carried forever. I mean, the horrendous shit he did is horrible. But it's a very sad individual that lived his whole life like that. You know, felt like an alcoholic. That's why like he was an alcoholic through high school. You know, and
Killed animals and
killed
all that
animals.
shit, all that little
But in
stuff.
the end, the man just wanted to love someone. That's why his thing was he wanted to keep these people. He didn't want to kill them. That's why he was like trying to like.
He wanted to keep-
He
inject
was trying to
them
make them like
zombies.
zombies so that they couldn't leave.
Yeah, he's
him.
like I would find the best looking man I could and take him home.
Good thing
and
you didn't find me. I'll tell you that.
we wouldn't know JD existed.
Wouldn't have been there last night.
Yeah, he wanted to keep these people around. Like he wanted to love them and to be loved. You know, and that's sad.
Which
as
I
fuck.
get. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's
I
not-
can see it.
It's not right, but I get it. Don't
No.
open my trunk.
It's the motive, not the method that you see, right?
Yeah.
But it all ties back to like
Upbringing.
repressed emotion, and which it could be with a lot of things. You can, I'll say like for you. I mean, I'm assuming for you, there isn't that feeling that I'm gonna ask, but like, because you said your upbringing was different.
Oh yeah.
Like when you first did kinky stuff, like, you know, kinky stuff, did it feel like, hope no one finds out?
Well, it was hard to get comfortable because my son's father was severely emotionally abusive to me, and he was very religious and very repressed, and that is kind of where the idea of this podcast came from, because it's like being in a relationship with somebody like that damages you for life.
Yeah.
And trying to become free from that has been a journey, and a lot of that freedom started with sexual freedom, because I wasn't allowed to have that. I wasn't even allowed to have sex toys. Now it's like, you know, so it's
And that's another thing that
the
people,
Toys R Us and KB
that's another thing
toys
that
and sex toys.
people buy, and like they're like, you know.
yeah.
Now, do you think that the sex toys made him feel emasculated, and that's why he didn't want you to have them? Because
Yeah.
he's like, if I can't do the job, you know.
Well, not only that, again, he was extremely religious, so
Yeah.
it's like a shame of like, one, that's emasculating. Two, we're having, you know, whore toys in
Yeah.
our home.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think there's anything in the Bible against sex toys among married couples, but sure, I guess you could
no,
interpret
you know,
it that way.
look,
It just seems weird.
do you know how many people that enforce their religion on people have actually read the Bible?
That's true.
Very few.
Very few.
And some of the worst people that I've met are extremely religious, because they use religion as a way to justify their shitty actions. Well, Jesus will forgive me. God will forgive me. And it's like, you can't continue to be a piece of shit and be unaccountable for your actions.
A lot of people in prison will tell you
Yeah,
that.
no.
And then another great thing that you bring up, when you are repressed from that shit, you end up being an abusive partner if you are, if you have the, you know, the heavy hand. Because I've like, it's big in the Latino community, you know, and that's why I said, when you first did kinky stuff, like I mean, for both of you, like, did it feel like?
It was, for me, first couple of experiences where it still felt like I was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to be as comfortable as I am now with sex and myself and talking about it. It took a while, you know?
Yeah.
It's literally like trying to break free from everything that you think you're supposed to do, and finally just do what fucking makes you happy and not what you think somebody else wants you to do, or, you know. It's definitely a journey of discovery, for
And when
sure.
you talk about sex work too, like that's a whole other fucking thing that,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, because sex workers like are more likely to fucking, you know, all the stuff, you know, serial killers or any kind of, you know,
Yeah.
I want to beat you up. Fuck it. Who's gonna stop him?
Yeah.
Oh,
Stop
like Jack the
person.
Ripper and
Shit like that. Yeah.
Well, and that's the other problem too, is if sex work was seen as a real profession like it should be, it would be so much safer for women to be in the industry, and there would be less cases of women being raped and kidnapped and pimped out and
Disappearing.
Yeah, and if we had
less drug addiction, less
if we had access to
STIs.
health care, you know what I mean? It's sad to me that it is not seen as a profession, because it is literally one of the oldest jobs known to man.
What do you think?
Even-
what do you think would like how the world would be if it was? Or is there examples of where?
Oh, there's already been examples.
Like
Australia's done it.
Australia.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the majority of you know,
The rest of the world.
the Eastern world is kind of handled it where.
Now I know where to go my next trip.
Yeah.
That's really what I wanted to ask. No,
That's why people go to Thailand. You didn't see the SNL
Yeah,
Thailand
but like-
sketch? Like learning Thai for business
They got
purposes.
in trouble for that.
But is it really?
Oh,
is it
they
really
did?
safer in like those Eastern European countries for women?
It's-
Like,
There's more resources.
Not just safer. That's the easy point, because I mean, when you think about sex, it's like, okay, nobody's getting killed and nobody's getting STIs.
Right.
But what literally happened, like in Australia, they just like they did with their guns, when they had their mass shooting, they were like, no more fucking guns, and that was it. You know, they changed their policies on things. You go to gun club, you have a registration, you take your gun. They did the same thing with sex work and prostitution, where now it's legal brothels, and everybody's worried. It stimulated the economy. The divorce rate.
stimulate.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. The divorce rate dropped severely because people had, whether they were
Outlets.
telling their wives or not, people had a safe place to go take care of what they feel they needed to take care of, you know, and
Flick the bean and then come back home to the wife.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it strengthened the economy. It culturally strengthened marriages in the country, you know, and provided a safe place for men and women to exchange the money, build a living, build an income, take care of stress, have a good time, and do it safely.
Yeah.
And here we're like years behind in that.
Oh,
we just do dumb
backwards here.
patriarchal things. Like, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, like when they did like the big shutdowns of like Craigslist and Backpage, and these were a venue for these workers to
Describe to our listeners what Backpages.
Yeah, you've never I found
For
you
the
on that.
listeners.
For our listeners, we have 12-year-olds that listen.
I hope not. Dear Lord, I hope not.
Backpage, much like Craigslist, it's just an online.
Like Grindr.
No, it's an.
No.
Oh, you're acting really.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
It's like the yellow pages.
No, it was
but
like
for-
Yellow
For
Pages for
escorts,
sex.
yeah. It's for escorts.
Yeah, escorts.
Technically, Backpage is just like Craigslist. You can buy a TV, you can buy somebody's fucking old couch, and then there's the massage or adult services section, and which has been taken away because of sex trafficking. And so what happened is, girls would go on there, they post an ad, like I'm in town here, and these are my rates, and blah blah blah, and because of that, it was their venue to, as safely as they could, vet their clientele.
Got it.
So somebody would call and, like, hey, I'd like to see, okay, well, what's your name? Are you a cop? Have you ever seen anybody before? Can you give me references? Because a lot of them would do reference checks. Like, name 2 of the girls on here that I can call that, you've seen.
They have to be verified.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones that do the profession and are trying to protect themselves, it's the best way to do it because, again, men are weird. And if it's anything illegal is very quickly marginalized and taken advantage of.
You ruin it for everybody else.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing when this buddy of mine, I don't say his name, but he did mention to me, you should go to those massage parlors and just crank one out and then call it a day. But that's where it gets kind of like I know like a lot of those places they get those girls early on. That's what I read about some article. Like the human trafficking aspect of sex work is really fucked up.
It is.
And that's where it kind of like.
There's 2 aspects though,
Okay.
and that's the problem. So if you notice, you guys might be too young to remember, pimping and pandering used to be a charge. Pimping and pandering, you've heard it in the rap songs before. It's not said a whole lot anymore because it's no longer a charge. So it's pretty much a cultural thing because they've turned everything into sex trafficking. Now, granted, yes, if you are forcefully,
You're about to get canceled, but go on.
If a man or woman, whoever you would call him a pimp may be, is bringing a female across state lines from another country, if you take anybody out of any area to another area against their will, it's kidnapping.
That's how they got Chuck Berry back in the day.
It's it's kidnapping, and basically now if it's for sex, it's human trafficking. What happened is, just like the RICO Act for the Hells Angels, they used the RICO Act for sex trafficking.
Oh shit!
So there's a million different type of pimps out there, and
Hugh Hefner, the most successful pimp of all time, I guess.
Well, that's
he's got some skeletons in the closet.
I've heard.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, so like, there are pimps that have never forced a woman to do anything, would never hit a woman. They're just helping them manage and doing what they do as a team. That guy today would get caught under sex trafficking, and he hasn't trafficked anybody.
Wow. Yeah.
So now he's lumped in with, if they did a sting and they caught him and all these other people, now this guy is going to be arrested for charges of sex trafficking and then child endangerment because this guy did it, but now they're all lumped in together.
Yeah.
And that's not right.
No,
that's not okay at all.
Basically, what's happened, I've read a lot and seen a lot of interviews about it where it's kind of a new war on the brown man to lock him up. Because nobody's in jail right now for pimping and pandering. Wow. That used to be a thing. 70s, 80s, 90s, like pimps are going to jail for pimps are going to jail for pimping and pandering. Now they can give you 20, 30, 40 years because you were sex trafficking, and under the RICO Act, all these other 15 guys in the same sting, that one guy had 2 12-year-olds with him, and now you are getting that same charge. It's like, no, I got caught doing what you deem is illegal because these girls work for me on their own free will. you know,
of age,
you know, like, and they're happy.
Stress
you know?
that.
And I'm not saying anybody should be out there pimping. I'm just telling you, like, where the line is blurred legally, what is going on out there. Like, sex trafficking is 1,000,000% fucking wrong. Nobody should do anything against the world.
Yeah.
But sex work is sex work.
Right.
You
and
know?
that's gonna be here
forever.
Yeah.
forever.
always
Roaches,
gonna be around.
after the nuclear bombs end, those are gonna be pimping each other, or sex work. Yeah.
Dude, monkeys do it. I mean, you all seen that Joe Rogan thing where he's talking about how they gave monkeys was it like fruits?
I did not hear about this.
They gave monkeys fruits as like currency, and they love it. You know what I mean? But they ended up using it as currency to fuck the female monkeys. Yeah. Like by the end of the week, the female monkeys had all the fruits because the male monkeys would be like, fruit, and then they fuck, and then the female monkeys just sitting there with the fruit like,
what
It's a world.
Wouldn't that be a
that monkey would go to jail for sex trafficking.
The RICO Act. All the
Yeah.
Oh man, nobody's. It's a little sad looking at the other way where you're like, no one's getting laid because they're liked. They're only getting laid because of what they have. You know?
Sadly, that's our society.
Yeah,
I mean, look, there's a reason you have the shoes, I have these shoes, you dress the way you do. Somewhere in us, it was ingrained, if I don't do this, I am not, you know, attractive to the opposite sex that I would like to attract. You know, there's a reason why you've got Ferraris and we've got Toyotas ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, theoretically, we could all be wearing the same white scrubs, driving the same
Toyota Corollas everywhere.
Toyota Corollas everywhere. Maybe yours has tinted windows, and you're the mayor. You know, a spoiler. Yeah, but theoretically, it's all unnecessary. You know, like everything is. You know,
we all do stuff.
That's what marketing is for.
We all this guy I used to work with is we all do stuff to eat and fuck. That's all we want.
Yeah.
Like this old guy, old guy. That's all we want.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
When I got in the car business with my brother. One day I'm going, like, we got to be there at like 11. I'm going to go work, and I stop somewhere and I meet this chick, and she was bad, and like, I'm like, dude, like, this is Huntington Beach, you know, and like, a lot of people in Huntington Beach are hanging out, you know what I mean? Like, they're there, they got money, or they're just visiting, whatever, and it's like, she had nothing to do today, you know, and I got to go to work, and I'm wearing my suit, and she's hot, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm gonna fuck this girl today at some point, like. I call my brother. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, man, but like, I don't think I can come in. He's like, what's going on? Sick? I'm like, no, like, just met this girl, gonna hang out right now. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to leave you out there. And he's like, so you're telling me you're calling in because you are going to go get laid instead of coming to work to get money to go get laid? You're cutting out the middleman to just get laid. He's like, I'll see you tomorrow.
That's I don't need to work today.
Like I said, everything starts and ends with sex. You know,
That's
whether
very
you
true.
want to believe it or not.
That's what you aspire to, for the reason you want to get a good job. That you want to look good. You want to do well. Like that's for the most part.
And
you're having a bad day. Hey,
and
have some sex.
Yeah. But
it's in a can.
and steal it. No, and I don't mean that crudely. I just mean it generally. You know what I mean, like,
because there is that also that like, I'll ask you both, like, as far as like open relationship things, like that's another one of those things that like, as an outsider who is set in their ways, they see that and they're like, you let your wife, you know, like, and I know a lot of couples, I've met a lot of couples that are comfortable with that. I have some stories. I install alarm for a living, so I go to people's houses and so like that's another thing too that's like kind of seen as taboo. Like if you're in all that stuff, it's like you're seen as a weirdo.
Yeah.
I think
by society.
I'm a big believer that whatever works for your marriage is whatever works for your marriage. Like y'all are married, y'all already got the brass ring, so whatever is keeping them married, go ahead and keep it going. You know.
Well, and that's again the reason she's starting this podcast is specifically because of those thoughts and feelings. Like there are a lot of people whose needs aren't met and are unable to voice their opinions or their thoughts, which is sad. You know, like you really can't be in a relationship. Love is great, but love, again, sex
has its limits.
Sex is a lot. You know, and if somebody's needs aren't met, it doesn't necessarily mean they want to go be with another man. It could be as simple as bringing a sex toy into a relationship, you know, or
a blow-up doll,
or you know, watching porn, or just being able to talk about it.
Or bringing,
you know what I mean?
I've heard of this with one of my couples friends, bringing another girl just because.
Always a good time.
Yeah, it is.
But again, it's a communication thing. Like, there are the men that are like just constantly trying to bring in another woman, and the wife is either going to die inside and do it because, well, I'm trying to make him happy, or she's like, why didn't we do this last year? You know what I mean? Like this, I thank you for bringing it up, and it's usually not him that brings it up. It's usually the woman that's got more, you know, forthright to say, hey, things aren't going well.
See, I had this with a partner where, like, you know, I jokingly said, what if we bring another girl? And then she's like, well, yeah, we could do that, but then I'll have to bring another guy too. I was like, got it.
Shut down.
Cross that out.
So that's a no. No, but I mean, was it sarcasm, or was it?
Did she really want a 4-way?
I don't have the stamina.
It is a lot of.
Hey guys, I'm gonna take a break. I'll be right back.
It is.
I'm gonna get a bucket of chicken. You guys finish up here.
Just sitting in the corner with your chicken,
drinking Gatorade,
some Propel water. It's a lot of work. It'd be a lot of work.
Hold on, DoorDash is here. Use this.
I'll get the door. I'll get the door. You guys keep doing what you're doing.
Well, you'd be surprised people's reaction to hearing that.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, I'm in an open relationship. People do not fucking understand it, and they're like, "But how does that work?" And I'm like, "It only works with communication."
And it's not like one of you is dying inside.
No.
Like you said,
Well, no,
you both are agreeing to it.
I wouldn't. Like, you're never gonna know exactly what everybody's thinking, but I could never be somebody's beast or burden like that. Like, my job is to push limits. You know, like, you tell me where you want things to go, what makes you happy, what you'd like to do. I'm going to push those limits, and I'm going to dang you over the edge of the cliff until you're like, all right, this is good. This is enough. Like, this.
Are you sure you're enjoying this waterboarding? You're not responding.
Clear.
Hey, doctor, I think
electricity up too high.
A good slap will wake up most people.
It's true. Actually, it's true.
Oh God, what is the kinkiest thing that you've done?
I don't know.
I like that you're both this looks like. This is an R-rated. You know,
I have just. I can't really say like what is the kinkiest, but I can say I have discovered new kinks that I didn't know that I had. We've played with electric toys this year, fucking hot wax. We've swung with other couples. I mean, you know, like, it's fun. You know what I mean? And if you have somebody that you feel comfortable enough doing it with, there's really no limit to what you can't do. You know, and that's a thing that unfortunately not enough people have.
When we were cooking burgers, he splashed some grease on my face.
Turned up.
Kind of got hard there.
Well, it's funny too, like, people in my personal life, I have to be extremely dominant. I run a large bar. I have kids. You know what I mean? So in my sexual life, I am very submissive. And there is a freedom in that as well. And not having to take charge all the time, and having a place where you can have that release.
Yeah. And having someone that you can actually be free.
And I can't tell you, there is a lot of men that say they're dominant and they are not. They're just pieces of shit. Like, a real dominant. Yeah, a real dominant listens to you. Like, describe what you look for in, like, what?
Describe a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, describe the difference.
Yes, please.
Dominant.
I'm over here.
Well, look, there's so going back to what you said about you know, being in control. Like, in the last 10, 15 years, women they're taking over, you know, in a good way. Like, women are CEOs, they're running companies, they're running corporations. Yep. They are still running their households while they're doing this shit. You know what I mean? So that means that the woman has worked an 8 to 10 hour day while managing, setting appointments for the kids, you know, calling the school, making sure that the treats are there for soccer practice, getting home, cooking dinner, handling all this shit. By the time that woman gets home and has some adult time, the last thing that woman wants to do is to have to tell somebody else what she wants.
Yeah.
You know, like they want somebody to take control, and like the relinquishment of control is a huge, like bonus. Like it's the ability to be free. On top, it's control.
Like Forrest Gump said, it's one less thing.
But I mean, relinquishing control is also like accepting control.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's
I see what you're
weird.
saying.
It's kind of like this full
Yeah.
circle
Yeah.
thing.
It's like
true.
each as in a partner relationship, each one has their thing that they're in charge of, and is that kind of what you're? I mean.
I mean, it just in
You pay the bills, I cook the dinner. You know, like one of those things.
Yes and no. I mean,
No.
the domestic thing is way different.
No,
'Cause
I'm just saying,
there's like
like,
domestic subs where
Yeah.
like we've both got people that are willing to come over. Like I'll clean your car, clean your house, take care of everything. Tell me what you need me to do. Like I've had groceries dropped off, had a Porsche dropped off. Like they'll, you know, like people want to be
Of service.
you know,
Yeah.
service subs. And there's a million different type of subs, you know.
Oh, so it's not just
Oh,
submissives.
No.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different dominant. There's a different
Not-
lot
is
of dynamics of that kind of relationship.
Oh, really?
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
just sexual stuff. It's like,
It's more to it. I mean,
oh shit. See that?
People want again the same female that is running a corporation, that is, you know, calling shots as a tech company this week, you know, wants to, you know, in the ideals that were brought in everybody's head in our culture, where she has been told by her family, why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? Why don't you, have a white picket fence? She doesn't want any of that shit. But still in the back of her mind, it's like, I would like to be of service to somebody in that aspect. You know, she's never going to be like, I need you to marry me. You know, why don't we have kids? Be like, I want to come over and clean the fuck out of your house. Tell me what groceries I need to pick up for you. You know, like, and then smack me around. So.
I need you to clip my toenails and iron my dickies.
Yeah. It's
And I could find that probably, right?
oh yeah.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm glad you guys came.
But it's,
This is-
that's
It's
what she
eye-opening.
said. But it's a give and a take. I mean, you're not abusing somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
it's what they want.
It's what they
Yeah.
want, but there's
Right.
also like
Limits.
You are leading this person. Like they are giving you control to lead them.
Yeah.
You know, with care.
Yeah.
You know, knowing they're under your protection. Like that's the role of a dog. You know, like because again, there's a lot of fake dog. Like because of all these 50 Shades of Grey and all this other bullshit that's out there.
I was going to ask about that.
It's become.
It's ruined the image for a lot.
It's just
of people.
become.
That's a bad representation of
Oh,
that, right?
absolutely.
I mean,
I haven't seen it. to be
I
honest.
haven't seen one. I refuse to. But just the fact that, look, you have Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
You've got,
Yeah.
what's the other one? Sex in the City. Like, all these shows are about women that have had enough of bullshit and they're looking for something. You know? 50 Shades of Grey was just kind of like the bloodletting for that, where it's like, hey, guess what? We like to have somebody take control now, you know, because the ebb and flow of our society was not ebbing and flowing. You know what I mean? Like it went from the 50s and 60s. This is what a man does. This is what a woman does.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Man's in charge and the woman.
And then it changed rightfully, where it's like, hey, like women are handling shit, but in the head, there's still the, you know, hey, like there is a role I don't feel fulfilled as a woman because I'm handling business over here like
Yeah.
a fucking man.
I see what you're
You know what I mean? And then it's like, you know, can I come over and clean your house? And
Make me feel like what I want to feel like.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
feel like a woman.
Yeah.
And that could be someone else saying that, not necessarily a woman.
yeah,
Like,
no,
you know, like-
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's but you get a lot of fake doms because of all these films
Oh,
and
yeah.
books where
I bet.
guys will say, I'm a dom. It's like, you're just saying that thinking that some subservient girl's gonna be like, oh my God, I'll suck your dick.
Well,
you
too,
know?
and people forget that it's not just about the sex. Like there is more to being
Right.
a submissive and a dominant, way beyond the sex.
Yeah.
Of course, sex is like, you know, the bonus and best part of it, but you know, like
No, there's a lot to
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
it's you can't just think you're
So is
gonna
this a club? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's more than just the chains, the whips, and the feathers.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, there's aftercare, there's before care. Again, it's just communication. You can't just, you know.
And this will all be explained in the podcast.
We we already get
got-
a lot of questions
Okay.
about it,
Yeah.
especially because like I'm on the internet. There's a lot of shit of me out there, you know, and so I get a lot of questions and like Fortunately, I have a good support system.
Yeah.
My family knows, which was another hard conversation to have. But
Like I remember you said with your dad, was that like a?
my dad chooses to be blissfully oblivious.
Okay. But he knows it's out there.
Yeah. And my mom I sat her down because I would never do something that would disrespect my family in that way. But when my mom started to see the money, there's no way I could have survived COVID without being on the
That's
internet
crazy.
like that.
Yeah.
Did you have an OnlyFans?
I had an OnlyFans. I'm on a couple of other platforms as well. And I just kind of started to do it without really thinking that it was going to do well. And it fucking blew the fuck up, you know? And
I know a lot of my friends, they started with OnlyFans during the pandemic because, you know, it's
And it's something that I'm passionate about. It's not just about the money to me because,
Right.
because 9 times out of 10, my clients are married and they're having problems. And sometimes it's not even just about them paying for stuff with me. It's I'm a safe space for them to bounce shit off of and talk
She's
to. I have
like a bartender for like half these people. It's like
kinky Oprah.
Kinky Oprah.
But it's like husbands and wives on there. You know, they're
couples,
like, hey, we love your stuff. Like, you know, we're thinking about this. You know, like, how should we do this? What do you think? Where it's like, honestly, they should be talking to each other.
Sex advice.
Sex advice.
That's
that I had done another podcast where we talked about making that like a steady episode because you fucking can't believe how many people have this shit going on and they don't have anybody to talk to about it.
And they don't want to talk to their partners about it.
And they don't feel comfortable. And that right there is half the battle.
Well, like she said, she has a lot of people that when, you know, they find out, you know, she's in an open relationship. They're like, what the fuck?
Oh, they don't understand how it could work.
But I swear to you, every single one like inches back and it'll be like, hey, so what exactly you guys
like,
do? Shit. And then it'll be like they're huge fans. Like a month later, like you guys are awesome. You know, like
what does that mean for you guys? An open relationship then? Because you described, but you haven't explained like your terms.
Well, we both have other partners.
Oh, okay.
And then we also have partners with each other. You know, like
Got it. Okay.
And it doesn't always mean like it's not always everybody all together. He has separate relationships, and I have.
Are they all going to be on the? I'm just kidding. No.
We should have a red table talk with everybody. That would be
right
fucking
here.
great.
you're gonna need a lot more chairs.
It's your own little tribe.
Well, done the right way, a polycule can be beneficial in a lot of
But it's not like you're keeping it secret.
Oh, no.
Like, you know, that's what I meant to ask. Because like, that's what I meant to ask. Like, okay, you can have other partners and you agree on it. And I've seen that where like they agree they can have other partners, but they don't know shit about what that person is doing outside of the dinner table. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, safety is everything. So if
sometimes, no, just kidding.
safety is everything, and you have to be communicative about, you know, what is going on. I mean, not everybody wants the details and wants to know names and addresses and phone numbers.
That's where they're dying inside, probably, right? Because like when you're like, oh, I don't want to know, like it kills me to know.
Well,
like,
yes and no. I mean, again, I refuse knowingly to be part of somebody that is I'm hurting because of what I do. You know, like I don't need to continue that relationship.
No.
If I notice it or they voice it, it doesn't need to happen. Can it be happening? Sure. Like there's, you know, situations where, you know, if somebody's going to be jealous or, you know, emotions are emotions. You know?
And it's normal to
feelings
have
are valid.
those.
Yeah,
For
feelings
sure.
are valid.
People think because you're in an open relationship that you don't experience that, and that's not true.
That was what I was going to ask. That was my next question. Do you guys get jealous or have those feelings?
I noticed you've been spending more time with so and so than me lately.
It's only human nature, you know. Like, look, time is your biggest investment. You know what I mean? And if you're spending time with other people, like when, you know, if somebody's sitting there and, you know, it's not their time, like feelings are valid, you know, like
for sure.
And part of like the whole open relationship thing is like having a schedule. It sounds fucking stupid, but it's like it's important for people to know when their time is.
Yeah,
you know, like,
no, definitely. Organized, sorry.
Yeah.
It's like
You're speaking my language right there. You're speaking my language.
You open the calendar. Oh, I'm late for anal with Amy.
No, I'm not. I can't forget the schedule.
we don't let him. We really don't let him.
You got the other guy going, look, it's your week this week, damn it. Because I'm not giving you any of my time.
Well, it's like too, like I'm very big, like I'll ask like, what are my days this week? So like I can also plan for my other, time with my other partners or whatever else I'm fucking doing.
With your other partners, like, okay, is there like a hierarchy? Like, is there an understanding? You're my main, and then these are my sides, or is it all just
Equal?
I've never been in an open relationship, so I always actually I wasn't a one open sider, but I wasn't part of it.
You're the side dish.
I was the mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't the turkey.
Well, again,
I look like the turkey, but
time is an investment, and so definitely if somebody's got more time with you, feelings, emotions are gonna run a little bit deeper than with some, a new sub that, comes into the fold. Like, it's gonna be completely different.
Every time you see sub, I keep thinking subscriber. So it just
Like
throws
and
me off.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
It's not throwing me off at all. I'm like, submissive.
No, I know, but it just that's why yeah. Okay, so time. So you say you guys have had the most time in that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so also what I do, I'm very honest with people that he is my anchor partner. Because
Anchor partner.
That's the term I prefer to use, just because I don't want there to be any confusion, and you cannot believe how many people meet me and think they're going to change my mind about shit. Like, that might be your anchor partner right now, but eventually it's just going to be you and me, and it's like,
It's always women.
Yeah,
It's always,
it is. Yeah,
women
no.
are mean, man.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, like they
come in
get
like,
very.
"Fuck him."
They want to be your anchor partner.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had to I had to separate from a partner a while ago, because that was not something that she could really understand.
Women are mean.
Yeah, women are mean, and or they'll play along like they're okay with it when I knew she wasn't. You know what I mean? And it's like, again, like I'm not going to be part of anybody's time when it's obviously hurting them, the lifestyle I live.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, you would never want to be a part. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like you said, never. If it's hurting someone, it's better to just walk away.
I've been in the lifestyle, luckily, since I was 18. And I've seen
in this lifestyle, like
yeah.
Can you tell the story of how you got in the lifestyle? It's my favorite story. I really like this.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
Mom, if you're
I
listening.
turned 18. My mom better not listen. I turned 18, and we're in the East Bay, growing up, and so at 18, you can go to San Francisco to the strip clubs. So me and my boys, we're gonna go out that night. So we're at my house playing basketball. We're all gonna go home, shower up, and then go out. So my friends leave, everybody's gonna get ready. I'm still shooting around, and I'm about to go inside. My neighbor comes over, who I've known since I was a child, adult man, and he's like, "Hey, you're 18 now." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, dude, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we remember." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah." I don't want to say names. Yeah, my wife, she thinks you're cute, and I'm 18. Where I come from, if a man tells you his girl thinks something, I'm like, "Oh, we got to fight?" Like, dude, like,
Square up.
So like, I actually think you're a good neighbor. Why do we gotta go
no,
through this?
he caught it too, where he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," like, because I was like, "Dude,
You were
like,
square
what the
up.
fuck," like, and he's like, "No." He's like, "No, man." He's like, "Look, dude," he's like, "I'm always out of town on business and things. Like, I go right for a couple weeks at a time. We're married, we love each other, but we don't live a normal life. Like she goes out and does her own thing, and she's kind of looking for somebody to hang out with when I'm not around, and I don't know, and I've seen some porn, but I don't know this lifestyle." He's like, "Just don't tell your fucking parents where you're going, but like when you have a chance, just go hang out." Damn. Dinner, penthouse, forum. So literally, I was her like
Pulp Fiction, like in Pulp Fiction, take my wife out to dinner, treat her, be nice.
yeah.
Don't let her overdose.
Drink your
Oh,
drink.
but don't rub her feet because they'll throw you out the window.
Is
Drink
that a
your
$5
drink.
milkshake?
There's no bourbon in that. Yeah. So for the next few years, I was like her
Boy toy.
escort. We'd go like there used to be a lot more lifestyle parties here in the Bay, like Berkeley Marina.
Yeah.
Hotels that you just take over and walk in with this gorgeous older woman and be like, "Yeah, I'm with her," and like, "Oh, and you ladies want to be with us? Like, let's do your penthouse." Yeah. So that's how I got in, and being around that, I would see couples, know couples where you could see it's like, damn, like they're open enough, but they haven't had an honest conversation.
Yeah.
To where like the guy is dying. Like I could see he's trying to keep his wife happy. He thinks this is, like he thinks this is okay because she's happy, but he's dying inside. Or vice versa, where the woman is like, okay, we're here again, like
She's pretty.
yeah, but it's again, like that's why like a lot of people, not a lot, some just aren't going to last because you can't destroy yourself like that and for your partner. Like you can give up everything you can for them, but at a certain point you're destroying yourself.
Yeah, and that kind of like monogamous relationship doesn't work for everyone.
No.
But for the people that it does work for, it's very beautiful to see.
Well, and that's just it. Like I realized a long time ago, and keep in mind, my parents are still together, still in love. But I realized a long time ago, like, you grow up and like you start to hear stories from your friends, like about like, oh shit, I realized my brother's not actually my brother. You know what I mean? Or turns out I'm not my dad's son, or whatever it might be. And you start to realize like, damn, like infidelity is fucking constant, rampant, and normal. Yeah. It's shunned upon, it's hidden, but it's also hidden by whole families where like, oh yeah, mom got knocked up by somebody else, or grandma got knocked up by somebody else, and that, but dad was like, fuck it, I did my dirt, I guess we're raising this kid. Like whole families have these,
and it's
secrets.
Not gonna stop.
It's never going to stop.
No.
So obviously, the monogamy thing doesn't necessarily work, And then you see people, even if they haven't done anything, they're not fucking happy.
Well,
my grandparents have been married.
Not all.
Like that's why I say it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
But I know it works for some people because I've seen it.
Yeah.
So let's not pretend that like it never works.
I'm not. That's
what you just said.
Just looking at statistics.
Yeah.
Again, my parents are still together, still in love.
Yeah.
But also, there's a give and take there that I am not going to put myself through.
And then there's some people that don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like everyone's different.
Like I said, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's just why, like, the conversations need to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not for everybody. It shouldn't be.
And be honest about that shit.
Forcing our culture, forcing people to believe that's the way.
Yeah.
It's fucked
And
up.
you're not forcing anyone to do what you guys do.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to make a conscious decision to be involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, no, just tripped and fell in this other woman. Like,
Right.
Well, we're at an hour now, guys.
Damn.
And I'm excited to hear the podcast. Tell us again what the name of the podcast is going to be.
Spits and Giggles. I have a spit kink, so that's where the name.
Oh,
Where's the giggles coming from?
JD, please don't
bring
spit
them
on
up.
me. So it's Spits and Giggles.
He spit first.
Yeah.
Spits and Giggles, and where you're going to be available on
where podcasts are available.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, when you release some content, I'll repost all that shit, and
definitely. Thank
I'll
you.
be a guest.
It's gonna be.
So it's in the vagina and in the pussy. I kept going in the ear. I'm sorry.
How breasts feel like big bags of
Big
sand.
bags of sand. I fucked her real good. What does he say in that scene? Like,
She was nasty.
nasty.
And I was like, oh yeah, you want it, don't you?
Mommy like it, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's a great example of that. Like, we were just talking.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a great podcast. Again, she has a
lot of learning.
lot of really good people lined up, and then again, just the amount of people that come to her with questions that, again, just like you said, as a child, where you're like, can you get a girl pregnant by oral sex? Like,
Tune in next week.
but like things people ask that might sound dumb that people need to hear
For sure. No, yeah. No, it's important even as an adult, because I've done some stuff I knew not to do, and I did it anyways, and I've had my scares, and yeah. So that's a good that's a. And then you never I do this joke, which you've heard about, being choked.
Yeah.
And it's just a joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
But after the show, it happened twice. Once
Somebody
in
approaches
Hayward.
you.
and one's in San Francisco, and like I like to get choked too. Like I was just joking.
I'm scared. I needed a dog. I needed a
But I've been approached about like oh yeah, sure. I like getting choked too. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a joke. It's all an act. I like breathing.
You need to have a follow-up joke about I like, the best thing is just like random blowjobs right after my set.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Just have all the girls come up to you and be
like it's just this weird thing. They tap me on my left shoulder. I meet them in the parking lot. I get a blowjob. It's something else.
You fucking genius.
Hey, I'm here to help. Like and subscribe.
Spits and giggles. Misery loves company. Best cake in the business. Hey, thank you. I'm gonna do it in person because we didn't get to do it because he hasn't been back since. I appreciate so much the cake for the 100th.
You're welcome.
Everyone was asking who made it. I took credit, but
it's all good.
It was amazing.
Exactly like the backdrop right there. That was amazing. I'm gonna hit you up for another one later on. We'll talk about it. But Spits and Giggles, and as far as your other content, do you want to where people can find you? Or?
Little Miss Cunt Cake. That is my name on everything. I'm on OnlyFans, Pocket Stars, X Videos.
Are you on like?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
Okay. Can I say it? Can I say it out loud?
Yes,
Okay. So
yeah.
You're working on being on Pornhub.
Yeah.
And that is like the Netflix of porn.
The goal, yeah.
Right?
I mean, just in terms of money, that's where you
I
start
see.
to
Okay.
pull in some money.
Okay.
But you know what? OnlyFans has done me good financially.
Because you get subscribers, you get people that pay for content too. Right?
Voice Party has an OnlyFans.
But it's free for some reason.
Yeah, but we're gonna post just clips.
Oh,
yeah.
Of you being choked out.
Me getting choked out
with food.
That's why I got the belt.
You going Carradine on us, huh?
No, I'm gonna put it on my waist and tightening it up chokes me. Like literally, as a fat guy.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding. But yeah, okay. Little Miss Cunt Cake, Spits and Giggles podcast, and it's gonna be available everywhere. Are you guys doing video also? Or?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So when do you expect to release like?
I'm hoping within the second week of April.
Oh, cool.
That's the projection date. Yeah.
All right. So this will probably come out like a little bit after that, but we'll definitely plug all that for you guys because that's first of all we appreciate you guys' support at every show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
You guys were there last night. Thank you for coming out.
Absolutely.
All right. You guys good, Phil? You good? Good? You good?
Yep.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thank you
It's
you
a
guys
pleasure.
for coming. It's been the Voice Party.
And we're out.
All right. Nobody got hurt.